In chapter 118 of Moby Dick, the Pequod enters the Sea of Japan, and Captain Ahab uses his quadrant to find the ship's latitude. His intention is to continue south to the equator. Speaking to the quadrant, he says, "What, after all, canst thou do? Thou canst not tell where one drop of water or one grain of sand will be tomorrow noon." Deciding that the quadrant is useless because it cannot predict the future, he crushes it, thus angrily destroying an important navigation tool because it cannot tell the future. In chapter 119 of Moby Dick, the ship sails into a violent typhoon that tears the sails from their masts and damages Ahab's whaleboat. Lightning strikes the bare masts and makes them look like glowing candles. Starbuck wants to turn around and go home. Ahab reveals that his long scar was the result of being struck by lightning, and he reaffirms his commitment to killing Moby Dick. In chapter 120 of Moby Dick, Starbuck suggests taking down a sail, but Ahab refuses, saying everything should just be lashed down. In chapter 121 of Moby Dick, Stubb and Flask argue about whether Ahab's mission puts them in more danger than a typical whaling voyage, with Stubb saying it does not. Flask shows uncharacteristic anxiety about the danger Ahab is putting them in. Chapter 122 of Moby Dick is only a few sentences. Tashtego lashes the sail in, saying the crew doesn't need thunder, it needs rum. In chapter 123 of Moby Dick, the weather goes from foul to fair, and Starbuck goes to Ahab's cabin to report this. Several muskets are lined up in Ahab's cabin, and Starbuck briefly considers killing Ahab while he sleeps. He almost justifies murdering Ahab, saying, "Is heaven a murderer when its lightning strikes a would-be murderer in his bed?" But thinking of his wife and child, he cannot follow through, and leaves the cabin while Ahab is still sleeping, then tells Stubb to go report on the weather instead. This section clearly shows Captain Ahab's descent into complete irrationality, and some of the mates begin to really worry about the outcome of this voyage. A storm providentially comes up and damages the Pequod badly. Starbuck, appalled at the carnage, as well as Ahab's obvious lack of good judgment, seems to realize that Ahab might need to be removed from power if they're going to survive. The tension escalates as these normally imperturbable sailors begin to realize the path they're on. The storm, as well as the fact that Ahab is already scarred from a lightning strike, supports the characterization of Ahab as being opposed to God, a devil, or under the influence of the devil. God's judgment, in the form of lightning from heaven, has fallen on Ahab before. God continues to judge his actions. The warning signs are appearing more frequently.